Hi, this is Dr. HAdi and welcome to the Medical Globe. Today's I brought special question, special topic for you people on demand. Today the topics are, actually it is one topic but I made it 4 questions. The topic or the first question is that, is bond breaking in ATP release energy or absorb energy? This will be the first topic, and then we will discuss 4 reasons why ATP hydrolysis is most favorable, or why ATP hydrolysis is spontaneous. In other words, it's a kind of the mechanism of ATP hydrolysis. And the third question we will discuss during the lecture, not now. So come to the first question. Before I deliver my idea, before I deliver the answer of the questions I just mentioned earlier, I would like you to tell that what is meant by the word stability. A stability can be in the chemistry, by the chemical compounds, or it can be used as in our ordinary life. For example, I just draw some diagram here for you people, just for your interest. Look at that. That man looks like sad, and something happened to him, something he or she got, and then at least their sad face disappear. He is or she is in a neutral mode, and then he got something more and he become, this time he is very happy, he or she is very happy. Every human in this globe wants to become happy. If I give the word stable if I match the word stable with the happiness, then that will be more good. If a person is happy, he is stable. And one thing more, this is a spontaneous process. Every person wants to become happy. Every person, if by getting something, a person gets happy, so every person would try to get that, to become stable, to become happy. So this is a spontaneous process. It is not possible if a person is happy and he or she come in a reverse direction, he make him or herself sad. Similarly, in the chemistry, the chemical compounds passes through 2 stages, or the chemical compounds exist in 2 states. One is the stable, one is the unstable. By the word unstable means that we have a compound, for example, it may be any compound. That compound has a lot of energy, and that lot of energy makes that compound less stable. In other words, that is unstable. So if that compound is converted into another compound B, this is another shape of the compound A, and by doing so, this become more stable, it has less energy. If this compound has more energy and this has less energy, the question is that where the energy has gone? The energy will be released, and that released energy will make the product more stable, and less energy. So less energy means more happy, more stable. If a compound has this kind of shape, the compound will always try to get to that state. The compound will always try to gain that shape, to get that structure, because this structure is more stable. So by various mechanisms, the compound pass through various stages and become like this, so they become stable. And while doing so, the chemical reactions occur spontaneously. Such type of reaction where the reactant side, can also be said the reactant side, where the reactant side has more energy and the product side has less energy. This sort of reaction always occur spontaneously, and this type of reaction will always release energy. That energy can be also called as free energy. I already gave a lecture on the free energy. You can search it by the name of free energy. So that free energy will be given a negative sign. A negative sign means that energy is released, and there are some reactions which require energy, which absorb energy. So if you give energy to that B, and now we have the reactant B. If you give energy to the B becomes A, and this reaction is also possible now. It is reversed from B to A again, then the energy will be high, and we gave energy from outside. That will be positive free energy, but we are not going to discuss this positive. Today's topic will be all about the negative free energy for this topic. So this was very simple illustration of the concept of free energy and stability. Most of the time, the teacher at lower level teaches to the students that when we have a ATP here, ATP, right? This is adenosine triphosphate. Here we know that there is adenine, right? And adenine, there is ribose, right? Is a sugar, and with this adenine and ribose, there are 1, 2, 3 phosphates are attached. You are not concerned with the ribose and adenine. It is just the chemical structure of the ATP is a kind of nucleotide where you can see ribose and adenine are there. There are 3 phosphates, and at the lower level the teacher usually say, as far as I remember, they say when that bond is broken, the energy is released. And that energy we use for different purposes. Actually, this is not true. This is actually not true. The question for this is something else. Let me show you. Actually, the bond breaking process need energy, absorb energy. So this is really not true that this bond breaking release energy. No. The concept is here. Actually, when ATP is hydrolyzed, means by the help of water it is broken down, 1 phosphate is released and ATP becomes ADP, right? Adenosine diphosphate. It has 2 phosphate and 1 phosphate has been released. This is our reactants side, and that one is the product side. This is a reaction, and when this reaction occur, the reactant side has more energy. The reactant side has more energy, and the product side has less energy. So we will think that why the product side has less energy, that this means some of the energy must be released. That make the product stable. Now here the product is more stable because it has less energy and it has more energy. This means some sort of energy must be released during that reaction. This released energy is represented by delta G, means free energy change is equal to 30.5 kilojoule per mole. There is a negative sign, mean the energy is released. Dear students, this is the energy of the whole reactions. This is not the energy came from the breaking of the bond. And now if you ask me another question, that how the product is more stable, mean why the product has made more stable. So I will tell you, there are 4 reasons. Because of which the whole reaction occurs, and because of which the product side is more stable, because of which the product side gets less energy. These 4 reasons are so interesting that you would love it definitely. So the 4 reasons are: number 1, the first one is the charge separation. Let me I think you can pause the video anytime and you can write whatever I have mentioned here. So I am going to raise it. Okay. The first reason is the electrostatic repulsion. Electrostatic, sorry, if I write electrostatic repulsion. You look at that. This is the structure of ATP. Again, there is adenine, there is ribose. We are not concerned with the structure of adenine and ribose in today's lecture, but we are concerned with the 3 phosphates. Look at that. Just look at the 3 phosphates very carefully, where the double bonds are and how many negative charges are there. Look at that. That's O double bond O and O negative, double bond O negative, and double bond O negative and O negative. This O is negative because it's not attached another one, so this O got another negative charge as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 negative charges are there. You know, in our basic classes we have learned that charges repel each other if they are alike. Negative charge repel. If you bring negative charge with negative charge, these 2 charges will repel each other. And if you bring 2 positive charge close together, then they will also repel each other. So inside that ATP, the 3 phosphates have charges. There are 4 charges, and these 4 charges will exert a great repulsion. This repulsion make that compound a little bit unstable, because these negative charges provide more energy to this compound. So we call it repulsion, electrostatic repulsion. What happened? How to decrease that electrostatic repulsion? That is by hydrolysis. We have water molecule. You can write it O, a lone pair of electrons. Actually, there are 2 lone pairs, but one is our most important for us. And there is 2 hydrogen. You can also write that OH bond H. What happened that this bond of the phosphate, this is given to the oxygen atom, because oxygen is more electronegative, and here the bond is actually 2. There are electrons in that bond, right? So these electrons will be given to the oxygen, and phosphate atom become electron deficient. Then what will happen? The water will be broken down into H plus and OH minus, right? The bond will be broken down. Here that oxygen has got electrons, so this oxygen become electron rich. So what will happen? The hydrogen, this H plus, will be given to the oxygen, while the OH will be given to the phosphorus atom of the phosphate, not phosphor, sorry. So phosphorus will get the OH, and here look at that, it has been hydrolyzed and phosphate is removed. Look at the OH. This OH came from the water, and the hydrogen here in black came from water and is attached here. Now just look at it carefully, that we have 2 negative charges in that compound. Now it becomes ADP, right? Because there are 2 phosphates, so adenosine diphosphate we have. Now there are 2 negative charges. As compared to the ATP, there were 4 negative charges. 4 negative charges, more repulsion. More negative charges, more repulsion, more energy. But after hydrolysis, the charges were separated. There were 4, now they got 2. There's separation occur. Separation of charges occur, and now we have 2 charges as compared to above structure. That compound will exert less repulsion. So a little bit, a kind of energy has been decreased here. So this is a symptom of stability that compound has gained by the hydrolysis. So that was the first point, is electrostatic charge repulsion has been decreased. The first reason. The second reason is that stabilization of the phosphate by resonance. Do you know what is a resonance? A resonance is a concept. A resonance is a concept. For example, you have C double bond O, and here you have some atom X, let's suppose. If these 2 bonds, look at that, whenever there are 2 bonds, one is sigma and other is pi. I can't give you more detail about sigma and pi bond because not the topic today. So I hope some students must know that whenever there are double bond, one is sigma and is pi bond. So what happened, that this pi bond electrons, actually we just draw them lines, they are actually electrons are there, right? So when these electrons or bond is shifted here between C and X, it become like this, right? And this shifting of the pi bond from one place to other place is called as resonance. This is possible that these bonds come back here. So we will write like this, COX, because the pi bond can come here between carbon and oxygen and between carbon and X. So what we do, we just draw here a line like this. A line like this means pi bond electrons can be here or here. That's called resonance. And remember, resonance makes any compound stable. So here the phosphate we got, usually we write it as Pi, right? Inorganic phosphate. Yeah, this will become more stable. So it will feel himself more happy by becoming more stable. So it won't go back to the compound because it feels itself more stable. How? Here we have this phosphate, and now we have P double bond O here, O again O and O minus, right? This pi bond can be here, and it can also come here, and the pi bond can also here and here, anyway. So what we do, we will just raise this double bond, and I will write what? I will write a curved dotted lines here, means the pi electrons can shift from that place to this one, and also they can also come here from O to this O, and here and back to here. So this is a kind of resonant structure of the inorganic phosphate. We usually draw a hydrogen out of the brackets, right? Because hydrogen may be part of this oxygen, or that can come here, that can be attached to any one of the oxygen. So better we will write it outside the bracket. This is the resonant form, and this resonant form is more stable. I told you that whenever a compound feels that by attaining other structure, it will become stable, so it would definitely follow this path, and this stabilization will also decrease the energy of the product of the ATP. Now the third reason, I told you that there are 4 reasons why ATP hydrolysis is spontaneous, why ATP hydrolysis is favored. So the 2 reasons has gone. The third reason is that the ADP we have now, we have adenine diphosphate, it will release its hydrogen in the form of proton H plus to a place where the hydrogen ions are very less, where the pH is 7, because our body pH is physiological pH of the body is 7. At this pH, hydrogen ions are very less. So giving the proton to an environment which contain less hydrogen ion would be more favorable. Yes, so this will also put some kind of stability on the compound ADP. Right. Okay, here it was ADP, it has -2 charges, and when it releases its proton, that hydrogen in the form of proton, so the oxygen will again become O negative. If the hydrogen is there, there will be no negative charge, and if it releases its hydrogen in the form of proton, definitely the electrons of the proton will be given to the oxygen, so it will get a negative charge. So now we will write ADP -3. So now it got -3 negative charges. The third reason has also been finished. The fourth reason is much more interesting than the third one, is that there is a great degree of solvation or hydration. Oh my god, what is this hydration or solvation? Let me explain that. Many students may know that hydration or solvation, but some of my students, they are really malang students, so let me tell them. Hydration. Okay. Hydration or solvation means that if you have a compound A, B, and it is broken down into A minus and B plus. So hydration means that water molecules surrounds, this is A minus, water molecules surround H2O, H2O, H2O means many water molecules just come around the A, because water is a polar compound. Water has positive charges. So the positive charge of the hydrogen will make a bond with A negative, just a kind of electrostatic attraction. And this water molecule, this water molecule, and this water molecule, all these molecules will get surround on the A negative. Similarly, if you have another part of the compound AB, B positive, so again around this positively charged atom or molecule, the water molecules will again surround. Yeah, they will be we will find these water molecules around the B positive. Why? Because water also has negative charge. So with positive part of the compound, water will expose its negatively charged oxygen. So again water molecules will surround the B. This is called as hydration if it is water specifically. And if it is not water, any other kind of solvent, because there are lots of solvent. So if it is another solvent, it will be called as solvation. If it is water specifically, it will be called as hydration. Okay. Look at that very carefully. The phosphate which has been removed here, this one, the phosphate, PO minus, right? And here it is hydrogen, right? There are how many charges? 2 charges here, right? There are 1 and 2 charges we have, and 3 charges. We have this is our product, right? ADP and phosphate. This is our product. Just tell me how many negative charges are there. So you would definitely answer that there are 3 negative charges with ADP, 3 negative charges, and 2 negative charges with the inorganic phosphate. So we got 5 negative charges. Now tell me if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative charges. So around 5 negative charges we will find water molecules, more water molecules, more hydration. And if you see to the ATP molecule, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 negative charges are there. So decide. Here the hydration will be less because charges are less, and here the hydration will be more because there are 5 negative charges. So there will be a greater degree of solvation or hydration. Look, hydration of a compound also decrease the energy. Hydration of a compound also make the compound stable. So by doing so, the compound become more stable. So these 4 reasons make ATP hydrolysis a favorable process, and a process that release energy, a process that release a large amount of energy. Of course, large amount of energy, because we see that by so many ways the compound is attaining stability. So the compound is attaining stability by different ways. So definitely it release a lot of energy. Release a lot of energy means it will become more and more stable. If you release less energy, you will become less stable. The more energy you release, the more stable the compound become. And we got these. So these are the 4 reasons why ATP hydrolysis is favored, or why it is spontaneous, means why it happens, why it occurs by itself, why it occurs. So that was the reason. Okay. Now the third question, which I told you in the beginning that I will tell you in the mid of the lecture, is that I had to erase this again, right? Okay. That question is, we got that question is that we have a cell here. We have a cell right here. Look at that. This is the cell, and this is a wonderful question, right? This is a cell. Inside the cell we have ATP, maybe 1, 2, 300, 2000, many. The question is that inside a cell there is water, right? As aqueous environment is there, and in environment where the ATP can be easily hydrolyze itself, means so favorable environment for the ATP to be hydrolyzed inside the cell. But it is not possible. It is not possible. Instead of this most favorite condition, the ATP will not be hydrolyzed by itself. The reason behind is that if you want this reaction to occur, means if you want reaction ATP, mean this reaction, if you want plus H2O become ADP, right? If you want this reaction to occur, there must be, it needs energy. It needs energy of activation. Energy of activation. We have been told already. We have been already told that any reaction that is occurring needs some sort of energy to start. That energy is called as energy of activation. Yes. The energy of activation is a kind of barrier, that reactants must reach to that barrier, and then it is possible for the reactant to convert into product. So this barrier is the energy of activation. Okay. If the enzyme is present, enzyme will make that barrier decreased. Now reactant will take less time to become product as compared to the previous condition where enzyme was not there, and it is very difficult for the reactants to convert into product because of this large barrier. The large barrier shows energy of activation. So this is a reaction. Its energy of activation or barrier is very high. According to the book of Leninger, it needs 200 to 400 kilojoule per mole of energy of activation is required. This large amount of energy makes the ATP unable to become ADP spontaneously by itself. There must be an enzyme. And now look at that. Inside our cell each and everything is fully controlled, fully regulated. ATPs are present, but ATPs won't be able to hydrolyze itself until and unless they get some signal from outside. And now how? The control mechanism inside the cell is very special. The control mechanism is very special because here the cell will synthesize a protein. The cell will synthesize a protein. The cell is going to synthesize a protein. And that protein, with the help of that protein, our cell make enzyme, right? With the help of that enzyme, the ATP reaction, I mean the hydrolysis of ATP will occur, and we got that ADP, and of course energy release. That energy release will be used inside the cell. So this is a wonderful question. That if there are ATPs inside our cell, so will they be spontaneously hydrolyzed, releasing energy? If the cell don't want energy at a time, so ATP will spontaneously hydrolyze? No. The energy of ATP will be stored in that ATP until and unless some sort of signal is given, and that signal will be in the form of enzyme. So it means that there is full regulation of energy inside the cell. Whenever a cell realizes that I have to break down ATP, then it is possible by the help of enzyme. If the enzyme is there, enzyme will decrease the energy of activation, and that reaction would spontaneously takes place, and we will get the energy. How much energy? 30.5 kilojoule per mole energy will be released with ATP. I hope you understand that lecture, and if you understand, have a thumb up, and remember me in your prayers, and remember also make a good smile on your face always, yourself, and also make others to smile too. Thank you, bye bye, and see you.